Okay, right now I want to talk about the other equipment you would need for crocheting. Some of the things that you would need is a way of marking. These are markers. Counting, which all of this is for counting. Scissors, yarn needles, and a way to measure. And I have a wide variety and assortment of different types of counters and markers and all that. This, I had bought this back in 1983. I have not seen a counter like this since then, but I love this counter. It's easy to use. The pegs, come out. You can move them around, that kind of stuff. There's different things you can keep track of, that kind of thing. This is another type of counter. This one, you just turn the dial to get the different, they both turn, okay? Again, this one was in 1983. And I remember that year because it's a year I went to England and I had to have all my supplies before I left. So I bought everything I needed then. And I've still got them. I still kept them. But those are for counting rows. Keep track of your rows, counting rows. Another cheap way, blank paper, pen or a pencil, and tally marks. Okay? So you don't have to have stuff like this. You can just have paper and pen. Okay? Scissors. You can use any kind of scissors. You can use any size. Mine definitely need cleaned up. I use them all the time. But any kind of scissors that are sharp. These are my favorite pairs right here. They, like I said, they definitely need cleaned up. But this one I have hanging near my work area. This one sits into another little holder I have. So good quality scissors. Let's talk real quick about yarn needles. Okay, this one I've had for so many years. I've used this same hook for so many years. That's why it looks the way it does, because I've had this around for a long time. Typically your yarn needles are blunt. I do have a sharp here that I use for smaller threads, crochet threads, that kind of stuff. The eye on this is quite small compared to your typical yarn needle. This is your typical yarn needle. I have this because I had it hanging up, but your typical yarn needle has a good size eye on it, and it's usually blunt. It's used for weaving in ends and sewing items together. And then you also have your plastic ones. Again, the big eye. These are sharper, but they're plastic. These, I hear a lot of people talking about they break. They're also, as you can see, quite a bit larger than your typical yarn needle. But yeah, they, you need some kind of good quality yarn needle. I would recommend something like this. If you're doing crochet threads, crochet cottons, more of this size or this size. Okay, so it depends on what you're making as to what kind of a needle that you're going to need. These plastic ones came in a kit, or came with my pink kit that showed my hooks. They came with that, and that's why I have them otherwise. But this is my go-to now. Either that one or this one. Those are my two go-tos. So next is measurements. You're going to need to measure any kind of a ruler. You can go get a school, the old wooden ones, or you can get these plastic ones, tape measure. You can get, this is actually a sewing gauge.
For hems.
Yeah, measuring. I don't even know where this one came from, but I've had it for forever. I can't even find the right way up. But, I keep this, and when I'm taking something, if I'm out and I want to take crocheting with me, I can throw this one in there, and you know. But you need something to measure with, so you're on track for measuring your projects. So something to measure with. Next is markers. There are some projects, and I will explain markers later. There are some projects that you do use markers for. These I've had, you guessed it, 1983. I bought a set of these. I wished I had bought more. But these are just little rings. And I'll show...
like jump rings.
Yeah, I'll show how to use something like that. I cannot find these. I have not been able to find these. But that's okay. I don't use these anymore. These stay safe, so I can keep them as kind of a memory thing, you might say. These are the kind that, one of the kinds that you're typically going to find, and I can't get it open. I don't like these. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I don't like these. They're used the same as any other marker. They come apart like this. The thing I don't like is they're sharp, and they snag easily. That's why I don't care for them. But, yeah, those are a type of marker. Another type of marker is cheap, easy to use, just strands of yarn. Again, I'll show you how to use markers, but these are your cheap, easy way.
I used to use those all the time.
Yeah. This I found, and I'm going to put a link to these. I paid $3.95. Got 200 of these markers. And these are by far my favorite markers of all. Now, you close them up to use them as a marker, or you can choose where it goes into your work. And I'll explain all this and show you how to use markers later. But these are my preferred marker now. But that's your typical modern marker. And super easy to use.
So great.
They are. I love these things. Like I said, I got this. There's 200 of these markers in here, and you got this really cool box that it's...
The latch is flush with the box.
It's flush. It's not going to come open. It has a little hanging tab on it. And I'll leave a link to these on Amazon. So that's some of your typical stuff that you're going to need besides hooks and yarn. Okay? All right, y'all have a nice day. Bye.